You're not lazy, you're not backsliding, but you are tired. Hello, and welcome back to our channel, Scripture Power Stories. Let's dive in. You are spiritually tired, and it's confusing because you still believe. Do you still care? You haven't walked away from God? You haven't given up on your faith, right? But something feels off, heavy. Like your energy is low, your motivation is fading. Even simple things like prayer feel like effort. Not because you don't want to pray, but because you don't have the strength to. And now you're wondering, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel like this? Did I lose something? Let's talk about that. Because what you're feeling is more common than you think. And more importantly, it's not always what you think it is. Let's look at Elijah. In 1 Kings 19, Elijah just experienced one of the greatest victories in the Bible. Fire fell from heaven. God showed up in power. An undeniable moment. Proof, clarity, breakthrough. And right after that, he crashes. Not slowly. Not gradually, immediately. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, he hits a wall. He runs into the wilderness, sits down under a tree, says, "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life." Now pause there. Is this the same Elijah who just called down fire from heaven? And now he doesn't even want to keep going. That's not weakness. That's exhaustion. And this is where we learn something powerful about God. Because God's response is not what most people expect. God doesn't rebuke him first. He doesn't say, "Where's your faith?" He doesn't correct him. He doesn't lecture him. He feeds him. He lets him sleep. He restores his body before addressing his spirit. Why? Because sometimes your spiritual fatigue isn't a faith problem. It's a human one. Let that sink in. Sometimes you're not spiritually dry. You're just drained. You've been carrying too much, thinking too much, pushing too much, trying to stay strong for too long. And somewhere along the way, you stopped resting. But here's the truth most people miss. God never asked you to be strong all the time. He asked you to stay connected. There's a difference. Even Jesus rested. Let's not skip over that. Jesus, Son of God, still stepped away. In Luke 5:16 it says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." He didn't just minister nonstop, he withdrew. He paused, he rested. Why? Because constant output without renewal leads to exhaustion. And some of you right now, you're trying to pour from an empty place. You're trying to stay consistent without being replenished. And that's why everything feels heavy, even your faith. Let me say something that might free you. You're not failing spiritually. You're fatigued, and there's a difference. Now let me ask you something. Have you been resting or just stopping? Because those are not the same thing. Stopping is when you pause, but your mind is still running, still worrying, still overthinking, still carrying everything. But real rest restores you. And that's what Elijah received. God didn't just stop him, he restored him. And only after that did God give him direction. So what do you do when you feel spiritually drained? Let's make this simple. First, rest without guilt. Not rushed rest. It's not distracted rest. Real rest. Because you don't earn rest. God designed it. Second, reconnect without pressure. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They think, I need to pray longer. I need to read more. I need to do better. No, start simple, short prayers, honest moments. Even if it's just, "God, I'm tired." That's enough. Because connection matters more than performance. And third, let God restore you before you try to perform again. Because if you keep pushing without being filled, you will burn out. And burnout doesn't mean you lost your faith. It means you ignored your limits. And God knows your limits better than you do. That's why Psalm 23 says, "He restores my soul." Not you restore your soul. Not you fix yourself. He does. Your job is to come close enough to receive it. So if you feel tired right now, hear this clearly. You're not lazy. You're not falling off. And you're not broken. You're human. And God is not asking you to push harder. He's inviting you to come closer, to rest, to breathe. Because faith is not about constant energy. It's about consistent connection. Even when you're tired, even when you're low, even when you don't feel like you have much to give. God is not measuring your performance. He's looking at your presence. So come as you are, tired and all. If this spoke to you, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Scripture Power Stories. And if you needed this reminder today, type rest in the comments, because you're not alone in this. And you don't have to push through it by yourself.